Guys, what's going on? Hello, everybody. It's your boy Santana, and today I am here to talk about math, right? Math. Guys, and it's not the math that you necessarily think it is. We're not talking about algebra or geometry or even basic addition. We are talking about a simple equation, FAFO. And when I speak to that FAFO, specifically, I want to talk to MAGA, Trump supporters. We have to actually take a moment to review where they are because it seems like a lot of people that were so supportive of Donald Trump, a lot of people that actually were actively engaged in helping him get elected, well, they have a lot of voters' remorse. And they are officially in that find out part of the equation. So, without further ado, I want to actually roll into it because I have multiple examples. And of course, there's going to be some that are pretty obvious, but then there's also some who are not as obvious, right? So I want to start with someone who has been influential as far as being a red pillar, someone who is a white nationalist, someone who is infecting the minds of not only the youth, but definitely the young white men in America today. Nick Fuentes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're going to start with Nick Fuentes. So, as you all know, Nick Fuentes was definitely someone before the election, super supportive of Donald Trump. Nick Fuentes has had dinner with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Nick Fuentes he's pushed the idea that the right should have all the power. And with that being said, after Donald Trump was actually elected, I mean, immediately after, Nick Fuentes actually went on record with some of the most heinous, heinous takes that you would ever see. And if you don't remember, well, guys, take a look.
We control your bodies. Hey, bitch, we control your bodies. Guess what? Guys win again, okay? Men win again. And yes, we control your bodies. Hi, I'm your Republican congressman. Hi, I'm your Republican congressman. It's your body, my choice. And men, women again. Men win again. There will never, ever be a female president. Never. There will never be a female president, ever. It's over. Glass ceiling? Dude, it's a ceiling made of fucking bricks. You will never break it. Your stupid face keeps hitting the brick ceiling. We will keep you down forever. You will never control your own bodies. You will never be the president of the global empire. Never gonna happen, sweetie. Your body, our choice.
Yeah. Yeah, that disgusting human being. Yes, yes, yes. Nick Fuentes, absolutely shameful. Absolutely someone who not only does not deserve his platform, but also should not be someone that the younger generation looks at with any type of reverence. But we do understand that at this point, he's definitely someone that they actually do. They look at him and they say, "Oh, this guy is absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing." Um, yeah, but you know what's funny? Nick Fuentes has had a change of opinion, a shift in view. Actually, Nick Fuentes has actually come to a realization that liberals were right. Listen to him.
Much as I hate to admit it, liberals were right fundamentally about Trump. Whether he has good intentions or bad intentions, whether he means well or not, some people blame his advisors, some people blame people around him. Whatever you think about his culpability, he is in effect, okay? Maybe not consciously or intentionally, but in effect, what he is a demagogue. What he is a populist demagogue. And directionally, what liberals said about him, which is that he was stirring up the rubes, animating the rubes with nativist rhetoric and ginning up resentment against the system to empower himself and the people around him, and then brought the swamp closer to the periphery in his first and second administration, willing to say and do anything. Yeah, that all kind of turned out to be true. Yeah, that basically turned out to be true.
Listen, I'm not someone that necessarily is happy with saying, I told you so. But MAGA, I told you so. I did. I absolutely did. Myself and other creators and people on the left, hell, even Kamala Harris gave a spoiler alert, not a preview, not a premonition, but a spoiler alert, speaking to what would happen if Donald Trump was elected. And now there are a lot of people that are up in arms and they don't understand what's happening. And so you have people like Nick Fuentes, who is a young man. I think he's still in his early 20s. He hasn't lived a lot of life, so he might not have seen or might not even necessarily know the history of the country. He might not know the history of Donald Trump per se, but he was so loud and proud and so hateful in so many different ways. And now he's backtracking. But it's not as bad as some other people, right? Because we heard Nick Fuentes admit, at least he admitted that liberals were right. But we have other people that are still on the right who have way bigger voices and way bigger platforms, and they are still not necessarily really recognizing where we are, but we'll get into it. Next person we want to actually hear from is Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro, one of the biggest voices on the right, someone who adamantly and vehemently supported Donald Trump before the election and raved about what Donald Trump was actually doing. Let's hear from Ben.
This is a dude who's having fun on the campaign trail. So
Really?
After Joe Biden's Trump supporters are garbage comment, I don't know who was in the room to set this up. Trump will tell us the story in a moment. But he decided to get a garbage truck, slap a Trump label on the side of it, get on an orange garbage man vest, and then do a presser from a garbage truck.
Let me stop right there just for a second, because this speaks to the heart of something that I've been saying over and over and over for a while. You can see the glee in Ben Shapiro's face as he's talking about Donald Trump and his garbage truck and all of the other things. And something that I've learned about Trump supporters is that they love the fact that Donald Trump is so performative. Like, that's their main thing. Like, that's the requirement that they have for Donald Trump, is to be performative. And no matter if he's actually doing something or not, as long as he looks like he's doing something, they're happy. And I don't think Ben Shapiro actually disagrees with that statement.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. Yeah, honestly, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Because here's the thing. Donald Trump, there's a side of Americans that is just super corny and super cheesy, and Donald Trump loves that side of Americans. He loves them, right? Really. This is why Donald Trump wears the big red tie. This is why, like, he knows image. Donald Trump, the reason that he put on the McDonald's uniform and was having fun handing out fries is because he understands that most Americans like that stuff. They find it funny and they find it charming and it's kind of hilarious. And
We
also,
don't.
like, you know what other
And
things
it's not.
Americans like? They like Lee Greenwood, so he plays at his rallies. You know what else they like? They like Frank Sinatra. So I'll play Sinatra doing My Way. Really, all the stuff that you consider cheesy because we live in an ironic era, in a post-authenticity era. Because of all of that, Trump, he totally counter-programs that, right? The original MAGA hat, I remember commenting on this at the time. Here's the thing about the MAGA hat. It's super ugly. Like, just as aesthetically, it is an ugly hat, right? It is a red hat that is constructed like it's from a family reunion you had with your extended relations in Minnesota in 1997. Okay, the original MAGA hat was like styrofoam and even had like a string across the front. And you know what? People love that stuff. They do, because it's kind of Americana. Donald Trump is Americana, man. There is nothing that says Donald Trump more than America. Here he was. This is like perfect American Donald Trump inside the truck, wearing the garbage man vest, doing a presser, explaining why he likes Americans.
Yeah, no. Just no. Donald Trump in his big goofy tie, Donald Trump in his orange painted face, Donald Trump and his over the top antics, that does not scream America. That's not what we're about. That's not who we are. America is hardworking. America is the land where opportunities shine through. America is a place where everyone should have the opportunity to be whoever they are with complete freedom. Donald Trump doesn't stand for any of those things. Donald Trump is a fascist. He's a fascist. He's someone who wants to be a king, and Donald Trump literally goes against the core of who we are supposed to be as America. So, Ben, you're wrong. You're wrong. Now, Ben Shapiro actually had kind of a heel turn after Donald Trump decided we were going to have Liberation Day, right? We were going to get to the point where we actually had tariffs. And Donald Trump has been preaching this entire rhetoric that tariffs are somehow going to make us rich. Tariffs are a tax. They're a tax where consumers pay that tax. Tariffs will not make us rich because American citizens pay for tariffs. Point blank, period. Anyway, Ben Shapiro isn't happy. Surprise, surprise. He's not happy with Donald Trump levying those taxes and Donald Trump's economic path forward. And guys, I'm going to roll that beautiful bean footage.
Trump declared that it was, in fact, Liberation Day. His giant tariff policy that he just dropped on the market unilaterally, probably unconstitutionally. Trump's reciprocal tariffs impose hundreds of billions of dollars in new taxes on Americans, be the largest tax increase since the Revenue Act of 1968. One of the biggest tax increases on American consumers in the history of America. And it's going to cost American consumers. It will cost American producers who use inputs from other countries. The Dow Jones Industrial Average plummeted immediately more than 1,000 points. The S&P 500 plummeted more than 3%. The NASDAQ plummeted almost 4.5%. There are real-world implications.
I just want to stop there for a second and make sure that everyone watching this knows that it got worse from when he recorded this video. Those numbers were not the bottom. They were just a snapshot of where we were at that moment, and they continue to drop. So it's worse than what Ben Shapiro is even talking about in this video at this moment.
For this sort of stuff. Trade wars are, in fact, not good and not easy to win, particularly if you don't actually have a plan. It is predicated on a bad idea of how international trade works. A fundamental misunderstanding of trade deficits. Trade deficits they're an accounting procedure. Trade deficits have pretty much nothing to do with the health of an economy. I can name you a period.
They don't. And you know what's so interesting about that statement from Ben Shapiro? The way that Donald Trump came up with his reciprocal tariffs, which they are not reciprocal tariffs. Donald Trump quite literally took the trade deficit with a country, divided it by the overall amount being traded with that country, and then divided it by 2. These were not strategic. There was no real thought behind it. It was a basic math equation that levied tariffs across the board and even had us throwing tariffs on penguins. So yeah, it was ridiculous. Anyway, Ben, you were speaking.
In American history where there was a fairly large surplus in America's balance of trade. The entire Great Depression.
One thing that Ben never went on to say is when he mentioned the point about the last time we had a surplus with our trades, it was the Great Depression. He didn't mention prior to the Great Depression, we levied blanket tariffs. Literally the same thing that we're doing right now exacerbated the Great Depression. So we did have a surplus during the Great Depression, which was caused by those blanket tariffs. Listen, We've done this twice, now 3 times, but 2 times before in the country, in our history of our country. Once in 1828, and when that happened, the Conservative Party lost about 50% of their seats that they were holding. Didn't happen again until almost 100 years, which was the 1930s, which they were just talking about, right? And after that happened, the Republican Party did not hold power for 60 years after that. And now Donald Trump, the Trump administration, the Republican Party, most of them, some of them are pushing back, but most of them think that this is a good idea. First time it happened, they lost 50% of their seats. Second time it happened, they didn't hold power again for 60 years. I wonder what's going to happen from this third time. I don't think it'll be anything good. I tell you that. I genuinely don't think it will be anything good. But rolling forward, guys, you guys know Aiden Ross, right? Your favorite internet troll, your favorite Twitcher, like he is red pill incarnated, right? He is someone that is causing a lot of brain rot, if I'm going to be honest. But he is someone who had the opportunity to meet with Donald Trump, to interview Donald Trump live on his stream in front of millions and millions of people. He amplified Donald Trump's voice. He pushed it out to the youth. He's friends with Barron Trump. He is someone who has a massive following, a young person who's made a lot of money, someone that I honestly believe might not be fully educated on a lot of topics, but someone who was willing to actually sit down and use his platform to praise Donald Trump and make him relatable. So we're going to take a look at Aiden Ross before the election. And this is when Aiden Ross actually took the time to praise Donald Trump before the election.
Mr. President, I do want to say, first of all, you took a bullet for everyone in this room, everyone watching, everyone. The reaction that you gave, no other president is going to do that. They're going to either remain, where they are. You are a brave man. You stood up and went like this. And
Captain Bone Spurs is not a brave man. He's a draft dodger. He's a coward. He's not a brave man. Sorry, I just had to say that.
And that was a pretty badass picture, by the way.
Well,
Also, again, going back, you see how giddy he is about that moment, that picture. Again, Trump supporters, MAGA, they absolutely love performative. And Donald Trump, he knows it. So he's performative.
I will say, though, that the audience was very brave also, the fans, the people. And it's much more than MAGA. Although I think MAGA is almost everybody.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're shrinking. They're absolutely shrinking. So, yeah, Aiden Ross took the time to not only praise Donald Trump in front of millions of people, but then the next thing that he did was actually work to make Donald Trump more relatable. And a lot of people can say, well, what are you talking about? Well, how did he work to make Donald Trump more relatable? Well, we do know, if nothing else, music is something that unites us all. And there has been a very wide and well-known case that has occurred with a rapper, Young Thug. And it's been happening for a long time. And it's a lot of people somewhat, for some reason, connect to this, and they feel like it's been an unjust case. It was a whole thing. But Aiden Ross took this opportunity not only to actually connect Donald Trump to Young Thug in the instance of the way that they were being prosecuted, but also to make Donald Trump more relatable to anyone who is sympathetic to music or the plight of going through the justice system. So here's Aiden Ross doing just that.
I know Fannie Willis has treated you very unfair. I have a friend who's currently being treated unfair by her. He's a rapper named Young Thug.
Yeah.
And I
heard that, actually.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
I just was wondering if there's a way that we can make sure he gets treated fair. That's all.
So I've heard about him, and I heard he's being treated very unfairly.
To be clear, Donald Trump has no idea who Young Thug is. Someone might have just mentioned that to him before this Aiden Ross stream, but he has no idea who Young Thug is.
By her, and I would tell her she's got to treat these patriots that are being all terrible. They're going after him. And I hear Young Thug is being treated. I heard the name.
Yeah.
I heard it from other people where they say he's being treated very unfairly.
Very unfair.
So he's got to be treated fairly.
Please. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah. Anywho, that was Aiden Ross actually making Donald Trump more relatable, which again, it's a thing. He made that connection for so many people, not only the youth, but people who enjoy music, people who might have been unjustly prosecuted. Just he did what he had to do to actually make those connections. But Aiden Ross has been wondering something lately. He is a little bit confused because, again, like I said, he's a young man who's made a lot of money, but I don't think he's well educated on a lot of different topics. So he at the moment is confused as far as, hey, what's happening? I've made all of this money, but now I'm losing a lot of money. What in the world is going on? He doesn't understand that he is actually in the middle of this FAFO equation. He didn't think that he was going to land in the middle of this equation. He didn't think that this equation was going to actually impact him because, hey, he's young, he's rich, he knows the president. Like, he did not think that he was going to ever be caught up in this equation. But now he has questions.
To be honest with you, I don't know how many of you guys are invested in crypto or stocks. What the fuck is going on with our country? Guys, why am I poor? Like, what is going on in the world right now? Why the fuck is this going on? Can somebody please explain what's going on? Why are we all losing? Why are we all negative right now? Like, does anybody know why? Guys, you want to be honest with you?
Yeah. Aiden, I know why. Because you voted for the failed businessman. You voted for someone who told you that he was a good businessman, and for some reason you absolutely believed it. You believed it because you don't know history. You believed it because you are someone who has gained success and fame at a very young age, and you have not necessarily went through those obstacles that make and shape someone who is a leader and someone who is capable of leading businesses. And so since you have not been through that and you have not taken the time to study those people, you don't know how to properly identify those people, nor you do not know how to actually make the connection when someone is being untruthful and how they can possibly be harmful. And so you threw all of your support behind Donald Trump, who is a failed businessman, 6 bankruptcies. Donald Trump bankrupted a casino. The House always went. Donald Trump bankrupt a casino. So, Aiden, young Padawan, I'm just hoping that you learned a valuable lesson. I'm hoping that next time that you make a decision as far as throwing your brand, throwing your name, throwing your popularity behind anyone, that you actually stop and take a moment to do your research, get a grasp and a concept of as far as what's happening, and actually make a good decision. And don't be so performative with them. And what do I mean? What do I mean? Again, you did so many things to try to make Donald Trump relatable. And this is the one thing I'm just like, what are we doing? Yeah. Anyway, that's Aiden Ross. Aiden Ross is trying to figure out where is his money going? Why are they losing? What is actually happening? Yes. But guys, that's not the end. That's not the end, because I've been talking about some younger people, but we also have older people, people who have life experience, people who have actually gone about doing a lot of things in their lives and becoming self-made, like David Portnoy. David is the owner and founder of Barstool Sports, right? And David threw his political capital behind Donald Trump. Now, the one thing that I will say is I've listened to him speak multiple times, and he always comes off as someone that's unbiased, but he's not. Because when I've listened to him speak, he's talked about the left, he's talked about the right, he's talked about coming together, but it seems like more than anything, he just wants the country to come together under the right. And he is someone who has no real interest in any type of platform that the quote unquote left is pushing. But with that being said, we need to hear from David, because again, before the election, David gave a hint of being free and fair, but then let his biases show, right? When talking about Kamala Harris and Donald Trump prior to their absolute amazing debate, when I say amazing, yes, Kamala Harris dog walked him. As someone who does debates, Kamala Harris absolutely dog walked Donald Trump. Anyway, David was on Fox News and he gave his perspective building up to the election, but he also made something very clear. Let's take a listen.
For talking about politics, but she's never really gotten in that forum, so I'd be surprised if she did it, but that's up to her. It's a personal decision.
Okay, what about, we'll stay on politics. Tomorrow, the debate between Trump and Harris. Are you going to be watching, and what do you want to hear from both candidates?
Yeah, of course I'm going to be watching. I'm curious to see how it goes. We really haven't heard anything from Harris, so I'm just curious to see how she speaks, how she responds. But the truth of the matter is, I don't think this debate is going to change how really anybody votes.
That right there is why I said I feel like he has a hint of unbiasedness, right? I agree. I agree. I feel like the debate didn't necessarily sway anyone, right? It just made people more firm in their beliefs. It made them more entrenched in their beliefs. It reaffirmed who they are, what they believe, and I think that's genuinely what happened with the debate. Also, guys, fun fact: look at the ticker. You guys remember when the Dow used to be up? Look at the ticker at the bottom of the Fox News screen. You remember when the Dow used to be up? Not so much now. Anyway, David, keep it going.
The problem with this country, everybody's already made up their mind. They're so entrenched. This election, I think it's just going to come down to who can get their people to get out more. But nobody, I don't think, is flip-flopping based on what's going to happen. Right. I think it'll be a soundbite fest.
But it comes down to who looks presidential, who looks like they can handle the Oval Office, either again for Trump or first time for Harris. That is perception, it's demeanor that's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super important. But again, I'd go back to, I don't know that it matters. Like the people who are going to vote Democratic and going to vote Democratic no matter what, they could probably wheeled out Joe Biden and had, lettuce coming out of his head. He's
right there. There it is. That's when his biases start to show. He's letting it creep out. He's letting it be known that, hey, I don't like these leftists. Anyway, keep going, David.
They'd still vote. We're so entrenched in who we want already. It's really hard to change minds.
True. I got you down as a Trump guy, Dave.
And this is when he's going to be super honest. Straightforward question. Straightforward answer, and I respect this. He says, I have you down as a Trump guy. And David's answer?
Are you? Are you prepared to say out who you are? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm voting for Trump. I don't know that I'd call myself a Trump guy. Like, if I thought there was a candidate that was better, I would be open to having that. Like, I didn't.
No, you wouldn't.
Vote for him in the. I wouldn't have voted for him in the Republican primaries, but I'm voting for him now.
Again, the reason why I just said no, you wouldn't, is because the simple fact of the matter is Nikki Haley was a better candidate than Donald Trump, and the Republican Party absolutely turned away from Nikki Haley. The Republican Party absolutely turned away from Nikki Haley. So, David, I'm sorry, but you absolutely would not have voted for someone else because you had an option to vote for someone else and you still did not vote for someone else. And then you voted for Donald Trump, even though Donald Trump was going against the most qualified candidate to ever seek the office of the presidency for a first time. So, David, I'm sorry, but you lied. You lied. You showed us who you were. And now, David, you are a very rich man. Very rich man. Again, you are the owner of Barstool Sports. You're someone who is out and about. You're a man of the town. You're on Fox News. You have everything going for you, but you are not exempt from finding out. And that's exactly what happened to David. David found out after Donald Trump had Liberation Day.
It out. Dave, how much are you down right now in today? 7 million. I'm down 7 million bucks in stocks and crypto. And it's tariff city. Trump has put his tariffs all over the place. I've been trying to understand them. I don't. Like, it's more a trade deficit tariff to me. Like, hey, we get this much shit from you and you get this much from us. Let's even that up.
It's funny how David doesn't necessarily understand, but he knows at least that Donald Trump's plan for tariffs, the way that he came up with these reciprocal tariffs, it's simple enough for anyone to get, and it's bothering him because it doesn't make sense.
Let's get some wacky formula and do tariffs. And everything's in the shitter because of it.
Let's be clear. David is upset because, one, he lost $7 million. I do not begrudge him for being upset for losing $7 million. Heck, if I lost $7, I would be upset. But David lost $7 million. And even more than that, he understands that the simple math, not the FAFO equation, but the math of the tariffs don't make sense. It's idiotic and it's hitting him in real time. And hey, how are those consequences of your action? Yeah. So guys, we have talked about a lot of people, right? We've moved through the entire gauntlet of all of the cronies that Donald Trump has implored to make himself relatable, to spread his MAGA message, to propel him to the White House. We have spoken about a lot of them, a lot of the key players, but I would be remiss if I did not take the time to talk about Elon Musk. Elon Musk, the man who spent $290 million to support Donald Trump's campaign, the man who was vehemently pushed back in Wisconsin for the Supreme Court justice race, the man who has been given unfettered access to our federal institutions with Doge. But they keep going back and forth saying, well, Elon's in charge of Doge, but he's not in charge of Doge, but he is in charge of Doge, but he's going to be stepping away from Doge. I got whiplash. But anyway, Elon Musk, someone who has put so much skin in the game, not only personally by putting his money, infusing his money and his resources into the Trump administration, the Trump campaign, all of these things to get Donald Trump in office and to propel himself into a space where he can wield absolute power, right? Not only is he the richest man on earth, but he now has a direct link, and some may even say control over the most powerful man on earth, the president of the United States, Donald Timothy Trump. And Elon came out hot and heavy in support of Trump. He came out with his entire chest poking out, or his little belly button. I don't know. You can call it whatever you want. Let's take a look.
Elon Musk, he saved free speech. He created so many different great things.
Fun fact, Elon didn't create anything. He didn't. He bought a lot of stuff, but he didn't create anything.
Where Where is he? Come on up here, Elon. He created the first major American car company in generations, and his rocket company is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space. Come here. Take over, Elon. Yes, take over.
Hi, everyone. As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA.
Can I just take a moment to say that the worst, well, not worst, but one of the worst things about Elon being a billionaire is that people have laughed at his jokes for so long that he actually thinks that he's funny. When you're so wealthy and so powerful, anytime that you crack a joke, people have to respond as if you are Dave Chappelle or Jim Gaffigan. Like you're not even close to it. Anyway, I had to stop and say that because you're not funny.
Well, first of all, I want to say what an honor it is to be here. And, you know, the true test of someone's character is how they behave under fire. And we had one president who couldn't climb a flight of stairs. And another.
Fun fact, Donald Trump is now using those same tiny stairs that Joe Biden used. Anyway, keep going.
Another who was fist pumping after getting shot. Fight, fight, fight. Blood coming down the face. Now, America is the home of the brave. And there's no truer test than courage under fire. So who do you want representing America? Yeah.
Not you, Elon. Not you. No one elected you. Not Democrats, not Republicans, not independents. No one elected you, but we definitely don't want you representing us.
Absolutely. And I think this election, I think it's the most important election of our lifetime. This is no ordinary election. The other side wants to take away your freedom of speech.
Super rich coming from someone who literally bought Twitter just so he can actually constrain people's freedom of speech and push his ideology out to as many people as possible. And he's currently like stifling even people on the right as far as if there's people who don't agree with him. So no, and let's not forget that also Donald Trump has made statements as far as restricting people constitutional right, freedom of speech, and even is in the process of deporting students who are actively, peacefully protesting. So the right is actually the party of no free speech. So there's that.
They want to take away your right to bear arms.
Donald Trump was the last president that actually infringed on the Second Amendment right when he passed the bunk stock ban, and the Supreme Court had to actually knock that down. Donald Trump has literally infringed on the Constitution and tried to restrict your freedom of arms.
They want to. They want to take away your right to vote effectively.
Absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. Quite literally, the Republican Party has passed multiple pieces of legislation to make voting harder. They are pushing for a requirement that voting has to be completed in one day. You have to do paper ballots. It's a lot. It's a lot. So all of that's not true. But anyway, Elon Musk came out with his full chest and was in support of Donald Trump. He was absolutely fully behind Donald Trump and so excited and proud. And yes, even from the point where Donald Trump has been elected, Elon Musk has been by his side, whether it be in Mar-a-Lago, whether it be in Notre Dame in France, or even in the White House. But now Elon Musk is starting to face the consequences of his actions. Elon Musk was a little bit hyperbolic in his thoughts as far as thinking that he could do whatever he wants and he would not have to worry about repercussions of his actions because he is the richest man on earth. Again, he felt as if he was exempt from the FAFO equation, but Elon Musk is finding out. And when I say finding out, he is going on press tours. He's been spending a lot of time on Fox News, and being on Fox News, he has also been speaking on what's been happening with his businesses. And let's be clear, for as much power as Elon Musk wants to have, that power without his money does not mean a thing. And now his pockets, that money is starting to shrink, and that's a problem. That's a problem. And it's bringing Elon to the point where he's almost in tears.
You're hearing a call to action.
Yeah.
You giving up your other stuff? I mean, how are you running your other businesses?
With great difficulty. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just had to. I had to bring it back for a second.
Your other businesses.
With great difficulty.
I'm sorry. I try to be as fair and impartial as possible, but seeing Elon Musk go through this makes me happy. I'm sorry. I said it. Look at his dumb face. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean.
But there's no turning back, you're saying.
I'm just here trying to make government more efficient, eliminate waste and fraud. And so far, we're making good progress.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're absolutely not. Doge has not made good progress. Doge has been lying at every turn. Doge has not actually been determining any type of waste, fraud, or abuse. Doge has constantly dropped the ball in different points, right? We can speak to the fact that their top 3 times that they've had, a top 5, 3 times their top 5 has had to be removed because that was misinformation. It wasn't correct. People have actively been fact checking their findings that Elon keeps posting, and they're not finding waste, fraud, or abuse. They're super hyperbolic. It's a grift. 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 They're stealing information. It's a grift. There's that. But Elon, I've said this many times. Elon Musk is not a genius. He's not. He's not a genius. Stephen Hawking is a genius. Neil deGrasse Tyson is a genius. Elon Musk is smart. He's smart. And he's a hell of a businessman. But he's not a genius. But with that being said, he's also not stupid. He's not. So now Elon is doing a bit of a pivot, right? He's already feeling the consequences of his actions. He has voters' remorse. You can see it in his face. He's losing millions of billions of dollars. And Donald Trump has levied these tariffs. And so now Elon Musk is kind of dancing to a different beat of the drum. So what do I mean? What am I talking about? What am I talking about? Well, again, going back to Liberation Day, Elon Musk understands that the tariffs that Donald Trump has levied against not only the rest of the world, but the EU specifically, is very harmful. Not necessarily just to the rest of the world, to American citizens, to the people that need and rely on these trades, but it's very detrimental to him and his pockets. And again, going back to what I said before, the power does not matter if he does not have the money to back up that power, right? Elon Musk is not trying to give up his money for power. He would like his money and his power, but he's not giving up his money for his power. But with that being said, Elon Musk has come to a realization, and he's saying that he is the champion for free trade. Elon Musk wants free trade. Elon Musk is saying that he doesn't even want tariffs. Let's listen to Elon.
And I'm hopeful, for example, with the tariffs, that at the end of the day, I hope it is agreed that both Europe and the United States should move, ideally, in my view, to a zero tariff situation, effectively creating a free trade zone between Europe and North America. And that would be that's what I hope occurs. And also more freedom of people to move between Europe and North America, if they wish. If they wish to work in Europe or wish to work in America, they should be allowed to do so, in my view. So that has certainly been my advice to the president.
I have never in my life, never, ever, ever in my life, seen someone be so humbled. Elon Musk has not only taken a different temperament and tone towards the situation, Elon Musk is now saying, like, hey, I've even told the president that we need more fair and open trade between the United States and Europe. He's now saying that he believes that we need some type of partnership that allows not only free trade, but people to freely flow between Europe and the Americas to actually live and work and do all of these wonderful things. And now that's quite a stark turn from someone who just a couple of weeks ago was saying, hey, people need to stay in the country that they are from, right? Italians need to stay in Italy. Japanese people should stay in Japan. And then also, he is very much so the return to work champion, right? I mean, he is someone who wanted to get rid of the actual work from home model and being able to, have free flowing and work from different areas. But now he is the champion of no tariffs. He is the people's champion. He is the workman's champion, and he is humble. Guys, we understand that Elon Musk, someone who was born and given emerald mines in South Africa, who at one point was even a legal immigrant, an undocumented immigrant in the United States, someone who has parlayed his wealth into more wealth, while taking government subsidies, billions after billions from the United States federal government, but then also getting money from the Chinese government, from the Russian government. Elon Musk has made money hand over fist by draining different governmental systems within the world. And then he was able to capture a little bit of power within the United States. And he tried to parlay that into more power within the United States, and he failed. He tried to parlay that into power in Germany, and he failed. Elon Musk is now being rebuked at every turn. You can see the sales of Tesla are crashing. His approval rating is in the tank. And Elon Musk is a man on an island where even the Republican Party are ostracizing him and saying, hey, Donald Trump, Donald Timothy Trump, it's time for Elon to go. And Donald Trump is saying, yeah, Elon, it's wrapping up for him. He's getting ready to take off. And Elon's going to have to figure it out. Because the one thing about Elon Musk is that he really wants to be Tony Stark. He wanted to be Tony Stark so bad. And he can't handle not being loved. And so liberals, people who were champions of the planet, people that wanted to see the world be a better place, embrace Elon Musk for so long because of his EVs, because of his innovation, because of his desire, because he was a futurist. But then Elon turned away from that, and simply because the Biden-Harris administration did not embrace him for his work that he did with EVs. And then you couple that with his own personal relationships with his children, the child who is transgender, and Elon no longer associating with that child. Like he has multiple issues, but Elon Musk turned his back on what a lot of people believe to be the betterment of mankind for him to focus on empowering people that stand for the opposite of what he said that he stood for so long. He is now the champion of a party who does not believe in progression, who does not believe in science, who does not believe in climate change, who does not believe in actually trying to make this world a better place. He is now the champion of a party of people who only want to see the ultra wealthy do well, only want to see themselves be more enriched, only want to restrain the rights of everyday people. And Elon Musk has shifted from one dynamic to the other. And now it looks like he's being ostracized by both. And I don't think Elon can actually handle that. But that's what happens when you find out in the FAFO equation. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Again, I hope everyone actually enjoyed this video, guys. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Please leave your recommendations below this video. What would you like to hear about next? I want to start doing more of this where I take time to actually break down the dynamics as far as what is happening across the board, how people have shifted their stance. And guys, I want to make this very clear. There is nothing wrong with gaining more information and then changing your opinion based off of said information. But I think there is a massive need to hold people that voted for Donald Trump accountable. And even more than that, people that champion Donald Trump, like all of these men that I have covered here today, we need to make sure that we are not letting them forget that you played a first-hand role in putting us into the situation that we are in today. You are directly responsible for the power that Donald Trump has and the state of our country. I'm not going to let him off the hook. You shouldn't let him off the hook. And we're going to continue to actually move forward. But like I said, with that being said, guys, if there's something that you want to hear about, something that you want me to dive into, any type of topics, make sure that you leave it under this video. Drop a comment. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to start making more of this type of content specifically only for YouTube. So yes, I have my other social medias down below me. Make sure you're following me on Blue Sky, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitch. But I am going to start dropping this exclusive content only over on my YouTube channel. So guys, make sure you are following me here. And just make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, do all the wonderful things. I love you all. Thank you all for listening. I will be back. And as always, peace.